Well, hey, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Uncut Faith, real life with young adults. And we've got some special things planned for you here tonight. We got a special guest with us, Bley, and he is well known in the college and young adult world with helping develop leadership. And he's going to be a part of the conversation as we talk to a young individual about life on campus, and as we just talk about next steps for college students and young adults, and especially those, if you have a heart for ministry, this is an episode you don't want to miss, because there's some incredible opportunities here in Fort Wayne coming and elsewhere. So we'd love to just have you guys participate. If you want to be a part of the $20 gift card to Papa John's Pizza, all you have to do is put your name in the comments and we'll enter you into the drawing. I mean, what college student doesn't want a $20 gift card to Papa John's Pizza?
Free pizza. That's dinner for like at least 2 or 3 meals.
And it's really easy. I actually email you the gift card. I don't even have to hand it to you physically. It's awesome. It's a
COVID safe one then, right?
Correct. It is. So, hey, we're going to jump in real quick. We'll talk more and introduce Terry a little bit more here as we get going. But Tyra, she is a part of PFW. She is on staff with their RA, and she works in the dorms and deals with all the young adults and college students there in the dorms and the life that's going on. And we're going to bring her into the stream, and we're going to ask her about how things are going there on PFW's campus. So welcome, Tyra.
Hello.
So where are you at right now, Tyra?
I am at the clubhouse, which is student housing.
Okay,
it's like our main.
What happens there at the clubhouse?
This is where you pick up your mail. Programs that we have, we'll either have outside, mostly outside right now, or grab and go in here. And then just questions, work orders, anything you can think of.
Very cool. So has the clubhouse been much different this year? Or is it the same? You know, people coming in and out, all that stuff?
Yeah, it's been a lot different. Usually you see a bunch of people playing pool and just coming in playing ping pong and such. But we had to limit that as well. You can still come in and play, but it's only 2 people per the pool tables now. And there's only allowed 25 people in the clubhouse. So it's a lot different this year. We're trying to take as much precautions as we can.
Now, you got to help Chase out a little bit with an event. What was that?
Yeah, that was actually a worship night. We are going to have another one this April, I believe. We're still working out details.
Getting the date nailed down, right?
Yeah. So we want to make it, I mean, so many people came out to that event. I was so just overjoyed because it was freezing out. There wasn't a lot. There's COVID going around. And we had so many people. And the grace of God, you know, everyone wants to come out and just worship him at this time. And I love that. So we're trying to make it bigger and better this time and just have as many people as we can, of course, taking precautions at the same time, though.
Right. Yeah, so Tyra, that event actually started out of you doing a project. So tell us a little bit about like what your projects are and then kind of your heart between reaching out to us.
The projects, you mean the events that we do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as an RA, we have to fulfill events for our residents. They can go to, they're just different types of things. So we have the worship night that counted as a spiritual one. And then there's a slash to that, though. And then there's also academic. And there's a bunch of other things that we have to fulfill for our residents. So we have to collab with people on campus. So campus ministry is one. And then there's student life and a bunch of other ones, student government and such, that we collab with just to get, I mean, I'm doing like a resume builder this semester as well with career services. And so I try to collab with a bunch of people for that type of stuff because I don't always have the knowledge, but I know where to get the knowledge, if that makes sense. So any ideas that you guys have as well, we always love to hear about those too. Sure.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. Like I said, Tyra approached us and said, you know, hey, we have to do these projects. We would love to do a worship night. And like you said, she just came. She set up. We had little fireplaces. We had s'mores. We had, if you remember, the day we hosted it actually was in was it October?
Was it? I think.
It was like 70 degrees on Monday and Tuesday. It was unseasonably warm. And then Wednesday was 30 degrees and we were outside. So we were all literally freezing, but
Yes.
definitely was a great event. With the sound system, the way we were facing, you could just hear the worship music echoing off the buildings all the way across campus. So it was definitely a pretty powerful moment.
It was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, that's good. So Tyra, tell us a little bit, and we'll let you go here. I know you got to bounce off pretty soon, but so you're on a public school, and you're. How do you feel like? Are you able to, or what does sharing your faith look like with people around you on campus?
Right now, I love that I could do the worship night. And by the way, if my phone cuts out, it's because it just said that it has 10% battery. I did not know. But it's really difficult right now. It really is, especially being a junior in college. And I also have 2 jobs. I have the RA job, and then I also work at admissions as a tour guide, and I'm on the board for that. So I don't have a lot of free time. As Byron knows, I haven't even been to our Thursday night things right now. So I can only do like Sunday nights. That's the only other time right now that I have between my jobs and such. So it's been difficult, but just sitting down and making time for the Lord and just reading my Bible when I do have the time. And then always praying each day that just, even if I can't come to life group and such, I know the Lord knows that I'm there.
Well, thanks, Tyra. That's great stuff. I mean, I can't imagine, the differences this year with being an RA and interacting with the students in your dorms and all that. And probably got a whole nother list of issues you have to deal with when working with your peers and how everyone's doing and making sure everyone's doing all right in those dorms. But we appreciate all the work you're doing, especially partnering up with campus ministries and helping an amazing event like that worship event take place, and knowing that there's another one coming up here soon. Mm-hmm. So we appreciate you taking time to be on here. I'm going to let you get back to your job so you don't get in trouble.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tyra.
Take care, Tyra. Thank you.
See you later.
All right, Terry, you're on now. We're going to have a little fun here. Yes. You guys have seen the Bernie Sanders meme going around, right? Who hasn't seen it?
I think nobody really saw this coming, but as much division and divisiveness that we've had in the country, we have united around Bernie.
Who would have ever thought that Bernie would be the great uniter?
You know the thing about Bernie is most of America didn't even know his name. Now they do. This is his best thing ever.
He looks like the grandpa you never knew you wanted.
Exactly. And then you're like, yes, I just want to sit next to him and get some mittens myself.
and so I challenged some of our small groups, life groups, to do the Bernie challenge and put him in their picture. So we had 2 groups who submitted this. They could have won a big prize. They could have won a free meal. I would have bought Zianos for their whole life group. But we had 2 that did it. They pulled it off. They took the time to Photoshop them in. And so since Terry's on with us here tonight, I'm going to let him be our guest judge. So he gets to decide which one he likes best. So I'm going to put the image up here in a little bit, and you get to choose between the 2 photos of life groups with Bernie. So here we go. We have one that's kind of a classic, all of them together with him. So that one is the one that Maddie and Sid were in, who were on the show last week. And they've got a really fun group there. And I think Ben, their leader at the top there, he actually did the work. So that's one life group. And then the other one, they got a little creative. And if you can see that, they actually put themselves in a Splash Mountain ride with Bernie in front. So
perfect.
2 good options there. You don't have to make your choice right away, Terry, but like whichever one you think is the best. I can put the other one back up so you can see again.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And 2, give me number 2. That's good. So there's a couple. We've got a couple issues here. So one has.
Are you going Simon Cowell on us right now, or is this going to be?
Yeah. Like the evaluation here. Like one has. Yeah. Like first of all, there's summer is fun, right? And doing the Splash Mountain or whatever that was. What ride was that?
I guess Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's Disney. That feels good. Give me number one again. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, there's some good looking people in that one. You kind of got the whole pose. It kind of looks like Grandpa hanging out, or Santa Claus or something.
And they're all COVID friendly with their masks.
All COVID friendly.
Here you go. I'm gonna advocate for this one a little bit, and here's why. I feel like that picture kind of encompasses like everyone's thoughts about this meme. Like some people are thoroughly amused, some people are just confused, other people are done with it already. That's what I'm seeing in that one right there. You got the whole gamut of what everyone's feeling about Bernie right now.
Chase, I'm gonna go with that just because. Okay. I mean, first of all, if it were my show, I would give a gift. I would give a gift to both.
Oh, sure.
That's not a bad idea.
But
if you really cared about your viewers, then you would do it to both. I agree with you on that one.
Terry, I agree with you. I think that's a genius idea, and I will buy food for both groups.
Yeah.
There you go.
They only had 2 submissions. They took the time to actually put the work in. We will give them both a free meal of their choice. That'll be limited with options, but think Zianos. Zianos is pretty good level of thinking for their life group for them to have food.
Good job. Good job.
Nice. Well, since we got Terry here with us now, anyways, and we're talking with him, Terry, you're on staff at Napier Missionary Church, correct?
Right. And if anybody knows where Napier is, it's we're 30 minutes south of South Bend. So I could get to Notre Dame Stadium. I can get to Notre Dame parking in about 32 minutes, if that means anything to anybody.
I was going to say Byron is actually going to offer lunch to anyone who could tell us where Napanee is. So.
Well, Chase just likes going out to lunch with me because I buy all the time.
Yes, I'm like, Byron, when are we going out again?
I was going to buy lunch today, but you guys went all your own way.
Yeah, I felt
I was all ready to.
Chase, if you could just get the image of Amish buggy and like rural America. This is Napanee.
Keep driving from Fort Wayne. Drive towards Chicago, and once you see like the most Amish, then we're pretty much there.
Yeah, pretty much. And you can start marking it by whatever's on the road. There are all sorts of road markings by the time you get closer to us. Yeah.
So how in the world does Napanee have such an impact, or like your association with colleges and young adults, with being out in the middle of nowhere like that?
Yeah, well, first of all, we're kind of in the middle of a bunch of different towns around us. So Warsaw would be, Grace College would be about 30 minutes from us. Bethel College would be to the north, 30 minutes. Notre Dame, we wouldn't bring a lot of draw from Notre Dame for obvious reasons, since it's kind of a Catholic school, but that's 35 minutes. Then we've got a bunch of other schools that are around. Goshen College would be to our east, would be less than 15 minutes away. So we are kind of the middle. It's not like it's a big draw, though. If you're coming to Napanee for a great meal, you're probably not going to be highly disappointed, unless you're looking for Amish cooking. You probably find that. But no, seriously, I think the big thing is God's blessing has been on our church. Our pastor's been here 42 years and had a heart for youth. Out of the gate. He came in as a 27-year-old pastor. He just actually transitioned his leadership to our senior associate 2 weeks ago, and he's taking over as lead pastor. But and I came in as a student ministry guy. I was the youth guy for a long time before I moved into the role of leadership development, which again oversees our staff and oversees our internships and young leadership development. So that's kind of where Napanee, like I've been here 28 years, so I'm old. I'm older than any of you that are watching outside of Byron and Chase. That's assuming Chase is 28. I don't know.
Around there.
So you went from, student ministry to developing a full-on internship residency program. How did that all get started? How does one even begin to create something like that?
That was really the reason I came here to begin with. Was I remember I was at my first youth ministry And one of the things I really want to do is develop like 18 to 24-year-olds in ministry, individuals that maybe had a heart to grow, wanted to experiment with ministry, or, even bigger than ministry, Byron. It was more about life mission. Because like every one of you out there right now, you have a mission on your life. And it's not like vocational ministry, because I'm not a big vocational ministry. Like I don't like to, like you've been called to a vocation. I think you've been called to a mission. And sometimes the vocation matches the mission, and sometimes the mission is, living out your faith in whatever it is. And I've seen a lot of great ministry happen in the workplace. And so that was kind of the heartbeat. And so started work with young adults in that 18 to 22 at that point with our local colleges. 19 back a while ago. I don't want to throw numbers out, don't want to throw dates out, but I had a guy named Byron von Gunten so Byron was a part of our SOAR program, went on to be a part of our internships and working with things, and it's just developed since then. We've got a summer program called SOAR, which Byron was a part of.
Was that in the 90s? Is that how long ago that was?
That was in the 90s. That was.
I graduated in high school in 95.
Yep, that was. That's kind of tells our ages here a little bit. But Byron came on in those late 90s, and we've developed it. Now we still have a summer. We're in our 24th class, if that gives you an indication of what's going on this summer. We still take 18 to 22-year-olds that are looking to kind of figure out. We talk about our summer program being about 51% discipleship, 49% interest in, kind of seeing what church work looks like. And we put 8 into a cohort and spend the whole summer together discipling and letting them interact with one another. We focus on mission. There's a lot of life coaching that takes place. The end of the summer, we want every person to walk away with, this is why I was created. This is the thing that God's called me. This is my mission, not my vocation. I'm not interested in what you want to do with the rest of your life. Everybody else in your life can worry about your vocation. I'm worried about what did God called you? What's the mission God's placed on your life? So that went from Byron, that went from doing the summer programs to we have a 2-year residency. So after you're out of college, then we've got individuals that are interested in building a resume. And I would say this is like 80% focused on vocation and practical ministry experience, and 20% discipleship. We've got training. We worked with a church down in Atlanta called 12 Stone. It's a large church that kind of got us up as a partner. And we started training and doing some things. We actually, pay our residents, which is a good thing. They like to be paid because they're coming out with a lot of debt. But we focused a lot on helping them reduce debt, and we focused a lot on helping to build a resume that when we launch them 2 years later, they've got a resume that can put them in a good spot, in a healthy spot. We want them to become healthy leaders and placed in healthy spots. And you guys both know, because you probably both have been in unhealthy spots, to have some places where you can we talk about learning on a tightrope with a big old safety net. We want to push them out there on a tightrope in their leadership, but we want to put a safety net so that if they fall, they don't get hurt. And sometimes they're on a tightrope and they fall, and there's a lot of ministry casualties that happen to that. So that's why that program developed. And then Byron, I think one of the things you were going to ask me today is this idea of we've then moved into this last year. We've created a college. We actually have we've worked with Bethel College. It's their Bethel University Extension Studies program. We've got 14. We were one of the first sites. We started with 14 students on our site with different degrees. We've got 4-year degrees in business, counseling, or psychology, human behavior, Christian leadership. There's a 2-year degree in Christian leadership as well. We've expanded this year. We're opening up to a marketing degree in business. We're opening up an interdisciplinary for those that are transferring and want to do some things. We're opening up interdisciplinary thing so they can bring some of their own degree, and we can match it up with what we can do at Bethel and get a combo degree. We're doing it first 2 years. This is kind of still undercover, but we can promote it privately. Pre-education 2-year degree. So if you're interested in an education degree, we'll take your first 2 years. We'll save you a lot of money, a buttload of money, and put you in a spot to where you're getting your first 2 years of education. We're going to give you in your first semester, you're going to already be have observations. Second semester, you're going to be spending 10 to 12 hours a week in the classroom, which is unheard of, from a standpoint of early education in the first 2 years of a pre-education degree. So there are other things that we're working on. We've got cybersecurity. Not a lot of people are jumping into that one, but it's kind of one of those that we put on our list. But the big news in that, Byron, is you're taking BUX right to Pathway Community Church.
Yeah,
correct?
there are actually going to be, I think, 3 churches total in Fort Wayne that are going to be doing the Bethel University program. So, we've got a lot of traditional students here in Fort Wayne who go to Ivy Tech, PFW, Indiana Tech. And some of these people, they've wanted to go into ministry, but cost-wise, it's just not realistic to go to Bethel or Huntington or IWU or Taylor. Even though they're amazing schools, when you're looking at, what is it, $35,000 a year now?
No, I wish it were 35. I've got a senior graduating this year, and Bethel College is 40,000.
Oh, man.
Huntington is around 40,000. Taylor is now at 48,000 per year. IWU is probably the cheapest of them all at the 37,000. As we talk about the private colleges,
Wow.
they kind of run in that same mix. Yeah, so it's gone. Price of education has gone way up. And here's the deal, with COVID, right? I mean, you just saw, in your last segment, you've got individuals with masks. Social doesn't look anything alike. So you're paying $40,000 for an experience that you really don't even know if you're going to get a great experience right now, right? And we hope fall all kicks back in, but the BUX piece is kind of this crazy thing. It's only going to cost you $10,000 to be in a BUX tuition. And
That's like when I started at Bethel.
Wow. Yeah, so it's 10,000, and that includes 30 to 32 credit hours for a year. So and on top of that, the BUX you can bring in outside funding. So the FAFSA still works. If you're eligible for that funding, you're still going to get that funding. I've got 2 students. This is true story. I got 2 students that get a $2,000, it's about $1,800 check every semester that comes back to them because they've gotten full state and full Pell Grant. So one of the things we're doing on our site is we're going to do every other year. We're going to do like an Israel trip. One in 2022, we're doing an Israel trip. So that savings that they can put on their education. We're going to do an Israel trip. 2 years after that, we're going to do a Turkey trip. So you're doing the journey of Paul. The off years, we're going to have opportunities to do you can go to Mexico for a mission trip on a summer, which is a lot cheaper. It's about $750 for a person that wants to raise funds to do that one. We have other sites that on the other off year that we'll look at to give them options to do. But I'm really excited. And I'm really excited for the PCC. That you guys there, Pathway, are kind of pressing into that and this fall, right?
Yep. So here's a question I have for you, kind of brainstorm a little bit. How would that look for us to, let's say we have someone who wants to go into young adult college ministry and they want to partner up with Chase. And he has a student that says, I really want to go into ministry, but I couldn't afford it. But this whole Bethel on campus at Pathway for $10,000 a year, that's amazing. But I want to still work with Chase.
Wow. You just set me up, bro. You just set me up. Yeah. So here's the beauty. Here's the beauty of those 32 credit hours. You get 3 hours per semester, 6 hours total per year. So that means in a 4-year degree, 24 hours of your credit. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the hours that you need, you're going to need to graduate with 120 to 130 credit hours. Give or take, right? So 120 is kind of the minimum for the full accreditation. You'll see a lot of Masters of Science that will require the 130, or the Bachelors of Science would require the 130. So 24 of those hours are going to go to practicum. So let's just say the individual, at Pathway Community Church says, I want to work with Chase, and they could go, they need to, it's a requirement to provide 10 to 12 hours in practicum per week to Chase. So Chase gets to hang out with this individual. What Chase's responsibilities are, he's got to pour into that person at least 30 minutes a week, one-on-one, coaching them, saying, here's how to grow in ministry. Here's some things that are happening. What's going on in your life? So like add that, as a real plus, you get 30 minutes of coaching with Chase, and you get the opportunities to really see, do I want to do this? Is this something that really I'm really intrigued with and I want to consider as a vocation? Is it something that I want to meddle with, that I want to be as a volunteer, or really just want to pour my life into, this ministry, whatever it is, children's ministry, student ministry, college age ministry? I want to look like, we've got individuals on our staff that are on worship team. We have individuals on our staff that are doing care ministry for our adults. So like there are a lot of different options. And I know Pathway is planning on doing a lot of the same things that we're doing right there in Fort Wayne.
Yeah. So like credit hours, all that stuff. Let's say you do the 2-year degree with Bethel. Would that transfer? Like if they said they want to do education and wanted to go to a PFW?
Yeah. So Bethel's fully accredited. So the beauty in this is most things, there are going to be some, every college is going to deal with this when you deal with transfers. There are going to be some specific things that you can't transfer, or you have to transfer into an elective. So it'll take up elective hours. But for the most part, I would say 80 to 90%, I'd say closer to 90% of all the class hours are going to transfer in because of the full accreditation. So, we've talked about, we actually have kids that have transferred in from other schools here. I had a gal transfer from Indiana Wesleyan. Everything, 100% of her credits transferred over. Another thing too is for those that have dual credit, they're bringing dual credit type stuff. All of those have transferred in without a hitch, and Bethel's willing to work with that too. The one thing I didn't mention, any outside scholarships that a person's bringing in, it also goes to this. Now, Bethel's not going to give you any additional scholarships. They've already taken their tuition down to bottom line. But if you're bringing in money from the outside, you got a Byron von Gunten scholarship or a Chase scholarship that they're giving. That's going to come in, and that's going to go in as cash right on there. Some churches are matching. So for our students out of the gate, we gave them a discount. And just said, you're going to be a part of our first 2 years. We're going to give you a $1,500 discount for your time with us. We'll give you $500 per semester. You stay around another semester, you get $1,000 for your second semester. So, there are a lot of really cool things about the potential of this. I've had parents cry, seriously, that when I sat down with them, with their kid, and we started talking about, here's what we can do, here's what we can provide. I had a parent in tears say, we had no idea how we know our kid wanted to go into ministry, but all we saw was these things around us that were 40,000, or we're going to have to, have 18 to 22,000 per year, 18 to 22,000 per year in loans. Add that up times 4. So that's a lot. You're around $80,000 of debt that they were looking at, and they're going into ministry, which isn't a high-paying job. Similar to education, it's not a high-paying job. So if we can help kind of cut down the debt load right out of the gate, even if you come in a year or 2 year, or kids that are looking for gap years are diving into this because they're going, my parents wanted me to do education, I want to do a gap year. Well, we're the blend of both, right? We get you credits, they're going to take you further down the road, and we're going to give you ministry experience. So you're going to get that missions piece, or you're going to get that gap piece where you're hanging out with our ministry staff. So those are some really cool things that I'm super excited about. I love our kids that are in it too. They are thriving. If you were to talk to our kids, I brought them on, I would say all of them would give it a high level of, man, we love the community. We thought we wanted to be on a campus with, a large campus, but we love the community that we have of 14 students. We love hanging out together, or another thing they'd say too is we do a chapel service 3 days a week, and the chapel service looks different. Like one day on Mondays, we do like a large group conversation, which is we've dealt with issues like race, and we've dealt with issues like, LGBTQ, and how's the church address these hard issues that are out there right now, or, and even politics, or even silly stuff like masks, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we deal with stuff like this, and what's the appropriate way to handle it within the church? And so those are great conversations in a larger group. We bring in facilitators from, out in and outside of our staff. Then on Tuesday, we do a traditional chapel. There's music, the worship. We bring in a communicator that does their deal, and it just gives them an opportunity to kind of be fed. Our students actually lead the worship. They bring in the music. They do the music themselves, and so they kind of got their own community and opportunities to serve. We did a chapel this week, all staff. So our Bethel students that are on our campus, they came and they actually did the chapel. So they did the worship. We had 2 share their talks for our whole staff, and it's a 35 minute time with our staff, and then our staff goes in and they speak on Tuesdays as well to them, so we get that interaction. Then on Wednesdays we do small groups where we don't want the larger discussion anymore. We want to dive in another level deeper. So small groups, then we go in groups of 4s and 5s where we can dive in at the next tier. So yeah, those are kind of the pieces. I'll stop for a second, Byron and Chase, let you guys.
I was going to let Chase ask some questions here.
Yeah, I do. It's apparent to me, that you're passionate about this program. But I think one of the reasons from my observation is that you're passionate about the program because you're passionate about the students.
Absolutely.
So for me, tell me what it is. Why young adults for you? Like, what is it about young adults that just get you going?
There's something about that 18 to 22. There's so many key life decisions that happen between 18 and 22.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you can meet your future spouse.
Mm-hmm.
You can determine your vocation. You're creating, a lot of them are lifetime friendships, the people that are going to be in your weddings or those type of things. There's all these key decisions that you're making. You also have opportunities to make poor decisions, right?
Right.
So that 18 to 22 is known for the good and the bad decisions that are created in that. And so like I see, like, the Lord has given me kind of this thing of being able to see the gold in and through all the stories, the good and bad. Byron would tell you right off the bat that, I want to see, when I'm looking at people, I want to see the best in who they are.
Mm.
I don't want to see what other people tell me about them. I want to see what God tells me about them,
Mm.
So that's been my heart, is I love to watch my biggest thrill in life is when I get to an end of SOAR, or when I get to a spot and they're spouting out mission statements.
Mm.
This is what I've been created to be. And they're beginning to see for the first time who they are in God's creation, carrying the image of God in them. When they get that, there is nothing that brings any more joy to my heart. I mean, I will tear up every summer at that spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be a crybaby. Byron will tell you, I'll be a crybaby at that point, like
Captain Affection.
Just because I'm excited, like that's what it's about, right? Because it's not about the gospel isn't about this whole thing of doing and achieving and somehow trying to win the impression of God, the favor of God. It was never about that. The gospel is good because you already have the favor of God. And, and if you begin to see yourself through the lens of God is for me, not against me, God loves me wholeheartedly, and he wants me to succeed. And God, when I do screw up, and I will, all of us will, the 3 on the screen, I'm sure have, I have, I'll own it for myself. When I do screw up, God is still there pursuing me with passion, because he knew there's nothing I've done or I'm going to do that will ever surprise him, because he created me knowing that in the first place. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I can bring a young adult into that spot to where, man, they're seeing it for themselves, that gets me pretty juiced up. Yeah. So Chase, good question. Got any more that light me up?
Well, I look at just the potential of, like, in my heart, I love what Chase is doing, being able to work right on campus at PFW, being there in the thick of it. And I think of just the potential of all these young adults and college students having a heart for ministry. And yeah, they're going to be specialized in going into maybe children's ministry or worship or youth ministry. But the idea that there would be that many that could potentially have a heart to go into ministry, and what kind of an impact they could have on a campus nearby. Because that's one of the benefits we have being in Fort Wayne, is that we're right there next to college campuses, whether it's PFW, Ivy Tech, or Indiana Tech, or St. Francis. We're right there. And man, they equip and mobilize young adults to make an impact with their peers, especially knowing that this is a post-Christian society. They're the first generation that's a post-Christian society. And, you don't see that in high school ministry as much as when I'm like, because you got local community, Fort Wayne, still kind of that Bible Belt area. But when you go on campus to PFW, you go on campus to Indiana Tech, you realize, oh, wow, yeah, this is actually a small percentage of people who are Christ followers. The rest don't have a clue. And to know that we could potentially develop leaders to have an impact, not just in the future for the ministry they go into, but right now, that excites me. And just thinking about how we could partner up and make that happen would be pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. So you were talking about your internships, and specifically with ministry, potential ministry majors, how they were able to get a lot of experience. So for me, in a way, if a student says they're interested in ministry, I almost try to talk them out of it, because ministry is hard, but it's so rewarding, So maybe I'd love to hear from you, Terry, like your experience over the years and years. Like, what's been hard about ministry?
Can we start with what's not been hard about ministry?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So like, okay. So guys,
so the easy part of the show is over. Now we're getting to the hard part of the show.
True story. So like when I went in my first year of youth ministry, I was so pumped. I was going to make $15,000 a year, and I was going to be able to go to Cedar Point and eat pizza and hang out with kids. I mean, like it was a dream come true. And then I met their parents, and no, just kidding.
Well, what's funny about that is that was the problems for student ministry. That's now the problems for young adult and college ministry.
Yeah, you're right. No, that's true. That's so true. Yeah, no, first of all, I've got this thing that, because I work with my staff a lot, Chase, and one of the phrases that we talk around here is like, I really do believe ministry. First of all, a lot of people use this thing called ministry as a call. I don't want to steal away from that, but I think we're all called to ministry. I just don't think we're all called to vocational ministry. So I start there. And so like for some people, the fit of vocational ministry will just kill them. And so I talked to my staff about this thing. It's a curse. It's called professional Christianity. Where we learn to put on a face that we think other people want us to do in ministry. And so we change who we are, and we lose the passion. Like if it doesn't flow over as an overflow of our love relationship with Jesus, then I don't know, like find a different job, but ministry, any type of ministry, whether it's in the church, outside the church, parachurch, whatever it is, always has to be, in the midst of, it's an overflow of my love for God. It's an overflow of my love for God and my love for others. So I love like your earlier segment when you talked about, here's a gal that right there on her campus doing her stuff, just living life as an RA, but making an impact right in the midst of what she's doing, coming along, partnering with you, Chase, on an event, coming along, doing the little things. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but ministry is the little things. And it's the little things it's about doing a lot of those little things one after another in obedience. And that's ministry. You know, it's not about just getting on a stage and like I hate the stage profile, because I think sometimes we put the super pastor on. I mean, that whole thing that happened with Hillsong, you know, in New York. You know, when we put somebody on a stage, they're meant to fail. People on stage are meant to fail, because they weren't meant to be put up on a pedestal to begin with. So we create these superstar ministry people, and we think, and a lot of times, honestly, people are drawn. I find a lot of students or a lot of people are drawn into ministry because maybe they weren't cool in high school, so now they can kind of be cool. You know?
Cool guy.
I'm gonna lead somebody. I'm gonna lead somebody. It's fun, you know. But honestly, like, when you're leading them into the presence of God, like a theme in my life this week has been focusing on the glory of God. When we focus on the glory of God and we get out of the way, like, you know, when Moses, there's a story where Moses goes up the mountain, he gets the law, and he comes down, and there's this glow on his face, and the people are going, "Man, dude, you are glowing. Just got some serious tans going on." And you know, and it even says there's one point where Moses put a veil over his face, and the glory faded, but he kept wearing the mask so that no one would notice the glory faded.
Wow.
Oh man, that's all about ministry right there. You know, like wearing the mask so that nobody knows that the connection with God is faded. So long story, that's a long answer to the idea is, man, ministry is hard. Yeah. Like life is hard. I don't know anything that's not hard. You know, ministry is incredibly hard because, you know, I hate it when the church doesn't reflect Jesus well. I hate it when, and I don't want to be marked by that. That's not who I want to be known as. And so when I see church or evangelical church nationally taking a hit, and I don't want to be associated with that title, but yet I know those are my people, right? I know those are people that still they want to love Jesus, and I think so. Anyway, guys, I mean, I don't know if I've answered that question, Chase, but I want to say the biggest thing is, like, ministry, the call of ministry is overshot. It really is. Ministry is happening in and everything you do. If you are so fortunate to be in a vocational ministry, there are rewards, because I get the opportunity to invest in people all the time in my job. I don't have to worry about going to a factory. I would invest there, but I've got a lot of distractions, right? I have a job that I don't have any distractions. I can connect with people. I can determine. There are things I hate about my job, but let's just say I think 80% of my job I do love. I do love the heart of people. So yeah. That probably didn't answer the question, did it, Chase?
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it. I mean, it's like I said, it's yeah. So I mean, like I said, the point I was trying to get to is that there's like you said, there's this feeling like, man, I'm called to ministry. It's like, well, we're all called to ministry as Christ followers. But like you said, is it going to be your vocation? And if it is going to be your vocation, like, prepare yourself for that. And so, because there's going to be hard days, like you said, the paychecks aren't going to be enough to pay off your student loans, or
exactly right.
Know, it's going to be time.
Keep debt low. Number one. Keep two. Do an internship with Chase or Byron. Three.
Exactly. But yeah, so it is so hard. And so if you know, like, as a vocation, that, man, this is really the calling that God has on your life, that's what makes it worth it, you know, because God is going to bless you for it. He's going to bless you for the tough days and the tough times. And it's just so rewarding. Like you said, when you have a student who graduated years ago, and they reach out and say, I'd love for you to perform my wedding, you know, because you've made an impact on their life. Those are the things that really make it all worth it for me anyways. The other thing I just love to touch on, and I'm sure you've probably seen this because you've been in ministry for so long, is that
keep coming, Chase. Keep coming, buddy.
It's just the generations. You know, I am where I am today because of a young man named Gary Swanson, who poured into a young man named Steve Wagner, who was a drug addict and was not good to his family. And he gave his life to the Lord, and that Steve Wagner was my dad. And so just pouring into somebody else's life, the impact it will have for generations to come is pretty incredible. So so whether that's vocational or whether that's working at your job in the factory, God has called us to ministry. It just looks different at times.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah. So, I mean, just thinking through this challenges of a calling. One thing I was thinking with a calling, I'm like, I don't even like the word calling anymore. It's like, I was like, actually, it was more like for me, I'm like, I enlisted and I was just like surprised he accepted me. I was like, wait, you'll let me do this? I can actually get paid to do this? Why would I don't need called to do this.
You get pizza in Cedar Point once a year,
exactly.
Right?
That's right. Yeah. Byron, something on that just real quick, I think there's part of the calling that we've used those words for so long that we've kind of created this imagery that there's got to be a burning bush somewhere along the line that God's going to show up in a bush and he's going to make it clear that I'm supposed to be in ministry.
You have to sacrifice all your hopes and dreams because you're calling me in ministry.
I think it is more how you just communicated with, what? I really enjoy this. This is something I have fun. Like when I leave, I've got joy. It's something that when I think about, when I get up in the morning and I get excited about, I mean, that tells you a lot whether or not you want to be with people, you want to be in ministry. I think, and I do. I don't. How I got my call? I was at a camp, and a guy came up to me. I said, I'm really questioning what I should do with my degree. I got a business degree. I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking I want to do, and accounting, that type of thing. But I'm thinking about ministry as kind of this outside thing because at that point I just thought every good Christian should go into ministry. But he went into Matthew 28:18-20. He says, "Go and make disciples." Right? Go and make disciples. And that was just it was a simple call. Like, no, that's it. And he said, you are called, Terry. This guy was an ambulance driver. That's what he did for a living. It was a camp counselor that gave me that one little phrase that just went on that began to change the trajectory of how I would look at my vocation. So, go and make disciples wherever you're at. And here's the other thing to remember, and this one's going to be hard for everybody on screen right now. It's not about us. It's not about us. It's about, it's about something higher than that. And if it's about you, then you're really you're on the lower tier of what life really could be for you. But if you see the bigger picture, oh my gosh, you can see the bigger picture that God has for you and his big vision for your life, what he's created you for from the very, very beginning. If you could catch it, just a glimpse of it. And he wants you to go hunting for it. It's like hide and go seek. Remember when you were younger and like your mom and dad would like put a little thumb out or something, when they're hiding from you and you're looking for them. And sometimes they put his leg out or something because you're young. So you can't find him. I think God does that too. I think he wants you to explore that. I think he wants to go seeking. And it says in scripture, it says, if you seek him, you will find him. If you seek with your whole heart, not just that day, but your whole heart, go after it. So that's all I got.
That's great stuff though. And I appreciate your heart for ministry and the investment you've made over the decades in young adults and college students' lives. And I'm a product of that. And I know so many other friends of mine are as well. And you've had such a phenomenal impact. And I just wanted you on here to convey that heart for and passion investing in young adults. And we're trying to create something similar to what you have at Napanee here in town at Fort Wayne. And I say Fort Wayne because I don't want it to be just about Pathway. I know Fellowship Missionaries doing it, and I know there's another church doing it in town. Yeah. And so I don't care whether or not you come to Pathway. If you have a heart for ministry, I just want to see you succeed. I want to see you have the best opportunity as possible. And ministry, like you said, is done wherever you're at and whatever you're doing. And I would be doing the same things I'm doing right now if I wasn't paid at a church. I just would be working to be able to get to do what I do. And I learned that a while ago. Yeah. And so the church just offers me an opportunity to not have to worry about an income in doing the things that I love. And so if that's you online watching, or you watch this at a later time and you're going, you know what, I'm not quite sure what I want to do, but I know I have a heart for people. Getting a degree this way, it's actually cheaper than even going to PFW, which is surprising. I know. And, that would be amazing. Like, and my heart is not to take students from PFW, but to give them an opportunity to actually make even a greater impact on PFW by getting discipled and, get your gen ed classes. And on top of it, get some biblical literature classes in the process. So you know better why you believe what you believe. So when you're working with your coworkers or you're taking classes, when you say second half, you're going into education, you have that in your back pocket. And what greater way to make a lasting impact and get education for an affordable price than to jump in part of being of a small community. And man, if you were like me, I struggled studying and being disciplined, but being in a smaller group and having others to hold you accountable from what I hear happens there. Wow, I could have used that when I was that age, to have like just 12, 15 people I'm studying with and doing classes with and saying, hey, let's get it all done so we can hang out together this weekend. We don't have to worry about studying. I mean, that would just be incredible. So that's my challenge. If you're watching online right now and you're going, I don't know what to do next, or man, maybe I'm sensing this tug at that price, and being able to, still use it towards another degree later on, knowing it's fully accredited, what do you have to lose? And I think it's phenomenal that we could partner up with other ministries in town and helping equip future leaders. So you've inspired us to want to do the same and go and do likewise and take that opportunity on. So
awesome.
Well, hey, we got a gift card to give away, unless there's anything else that you guys want to add to the conversation before we go.
Well, Byron, would you mind if I just pray for your audience right now?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
As they're seeking out, whatever the Lord's got going on in their, I don't know what's stirring, like all of you, whoever's listening, whatever's going on, number one, I want you to know the Lord loves you and he's pursuing you. And I know maybe there's probably somebody, I just kind of sense it in the back of my mind right now. Somebody is maybe sensing unloved, unnoticed by God. He's noticing you. He wants you to know that tonight. Jesus, I pray that right across those that are listening to this and those that will listen to this, that you would use these moments to shine your glory into our lives. God, I pray for the student that's looking and considering ministry, but has not had the courage to do so, or didn't even see a possibility to kind of step out in that direction. God, give them a faith step tonight to maybe have a conversation with Byron or Chase. This would be moments that would move them forward to the next point of obedience. God, for the person that's struggling, maybe they're dealing with depression tonight. Oh, winter's hard, and school is hard, and work is hard, and there's things that are just consuming them. Relationships are hard. And I pray, Lord God, that they would sense your presence, even if it's just a simple peace for a moment, that would just gently fall on them right now, to let them know that you love them, that you are pursuing them, that you have created them specifically and uniquely with a mission. And God, I pray they pursue it with everything that's inside of them. And then God, I pray for what you want to do in Fort Wayne, the campuses that we would love to see the gospel spread, not just religion. We are not interested in religion. We're interested in the gospel, the good news that you came to rescue and provide and restore relationship with us, and that you want and desire intimate moments with us. May that be the things that they pursue, desire, and may they be inspired even tonight to maybe move towards that. If they've been distant and they've kind of drifted away from you, or they've kind of held back, I pray, God, that maybe tonight they make that move towards you, that little step towards you, to say, God, I want to reestablish relationship and communion with you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Terry.
All right. Well, we have a few people here who have entered into the drawing for the Papa John's giveaway. I'm going to real quick get their names entered. We got Alyssa, Savannah, and Angela. Those three put their names down. So, hey, 1 in 3 odds, you're going to win a $20 gift card.
Hey, put Terry's name on there too. See what that looks like.
You on there?
Terry, put Terry's name.
Oh, put Terry on there. Oh my, he buys too much pizza probably for the college kids all the time, as is.
You probably can't even calculate how much pizza you've eaten over the years. Can you? Terry?
Oh man, my waistline can tell you.
It's like the number of rings on a tree. Your pant size is how many years.
That's right. Yeah.
Ministry.
All right, I'm getting these names entered right now. It'll take me 1 second.
So here's the interesting. I'll let Byron put that on there, but I still don't get sick of pizza. I mean, I literally have it all the time, but it's still so good.
No, that's just part of the job, right?
Yeah. So if you're thinking about getting into ministry, it's how do you feel about pizza for the rest of your life?
Youth ministry and college ministry, pizza.
Yep.
Let's see here. All right, one last. Okay, here we go. So we got this magic wheel that I'm gonna real quick add to the stream, and I'll click go, and it'll land on 1 of 3 names. All right, here it is.
Hey, you got the logo in this time, by the way.
I don't have an official logo yet made. I'm waiting to see how things go over the next several weeks, and we'll create a logo from there. But here we go. All right.
Oh,
Angela, you are a lucky winner.
Alyssa, you were so close.
There on Facebook, Angela Marie, and we'll connect with you after the show and get you that electronic gift card to Papa John's. And you can share that with your friends or have a couple pizzas to yourself. It does reheat pretty well in the fridge. So when you get it out from the microwave, it's not too bad. You know, everyone loves a good reheated pizza.
Yeah.
So, hey, what do you got going on next week, Chase, real quick, before we go?
Yeah, so we actually have some events going on this week. Tomorrow, we're getting out free hot chocolate on campus of Purdue, Fort Wayne. So stop by where we're going to be by the big Mastodon statue. That's 9:30 to 11:30. It's going to be cold outside. Stop by on your way to class and grab a free hot chocolate. Be encouraged. We'll pray for you if you want. And then Friday, we're actually going ice skating at Headwaters Park at 1 o'clock. Should have double checked the time on that one. We're going ice skating over at Headwaters Park. Just a group of students, social distancing, staying safe, but also having a good time. So that's what's happening this week.
All right. And then we got life groups tomorrow at Pathway. If you're not in a small group and you want to be a part of a life group, come check it out, 7 o'clock. And like I said, if a group of PFW students come, they've never been to Pathway, but they're part of young adult ministry or campus ministry at PFW, I'd love to get you guys a group going there and having Chase be a part of that with you guys. So that's what's taking place, and we will be on 2 weeks from now. Conversations will be next Wednesday with Campus Ministries. And thanks again, Terry, for being a part of the show. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week or 2 weeks from now. Have a great night, and we'll catch you later.